Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Retro Radio, episode 626, coming to you on Wednesday, October 15th. We are going to look ahead to USC and Notre Dame locking horns in South Bend on Saturday. College football's greatest intersection or rivalry, the battle for the jeweled shillelagh. Anything you want to talk about it, we're going to talk about it in this episode. As always, you can follow us on social media at Rant Line. Email us, rantandtroyfansite.com, and our phone number, 818-643-7227, Second Whisper Show. I'm your host, Michael Castillo, joined along with my co-host here in the Rant Troy studio in Los Angeles, Alicia Deratola.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. This is a big one. This is a really big one. In putting together our rundown for everything, genuinely, I think this might be the most fascinating, interesting, exciting, in whatever other superlative you want to put in here, game in a real long time. Like this, there's so many good storylines. All of these things.
It is one of the more evenly matched, it feels like, games.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
And not just in terms of the matchup itself, but in terms of, USC is dealing with some injuries right now, Notre Dame is dealing with some injuries right now. Like, both of these teams have had some big losses in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And both will have to find a way to overcome those. Both of them have question marks around their legitimacy. Both of them are looking at this game as potentially is this a game who the winner comes out alive in the playoff hunt and the loser is more or less dead in the water. So yeah, there's a lot behind this game.
There's a lot behind this game. It's also a place where USC has not won since 2011. 14 years since SC beat Notre Dame in South Bend. Great game that was in 2011. Juwanza Starling picking up a fumble from your former classmate, Dane Christ, and running 90-something yards to return it to the house and completely changed the game for the Trojans, and SC sort of went on from there and won in 2011. And
it's crazy that was the last time USC won.
It's a long time ago. It's a really long time ago. 2009 was the Clausen game where they came down and drove down in the final minute and ended up, it was like a goal line stand that SC wins. 2007, the ass kicking, 38-0, probably the worst Notre Dame team of our lives. And SC made them look real bad. And then Alicia, 2005, a classic, one for the ages. Dare I say, it is the 20th anniversary today, literally today, the 20th anniversary of maybe one of the greatest games in college football history, the 2005 USC Notre Dame game, a true classic, two giants, and Charlie Weiss against Pete Carroll, Brady Quinn against Matt Leinart, Dwayne Jarrett against the grass. It was an epic game in 2005. And so, since today is literally the 20th anniversary, it was October 15th, 2005, we're going to look back and relive the 2005 game by watching one of our favorite things in the world, Trojan Rewind. We're going to relive the last drive on Trojan Rewind. Big shout out on YouTube to NHBI007, who has like all the Trojan Rewinds from like 2007 and 2006 up on YouTube.
Uploaded it 17 years ago.
Yes, a real long time.
Stayed up the whole time.
Yes. Here we go. All right, we're going to press play right now. And let's watch this magic. Brady Quinn scores here.
Yelling quarterback draw there, like.
Yeah. How worried are you at this point?
I'm shitting bricks if I remember correctly. How old would we have been this year? Like
16.
Yeah, I was losing my mind. I was having a panic attack. I was at our good friend's house watching the game The father is a Notre Dame fan. The mother is a USC grad, and it was
this sack.
scary.
I thought that was when it was over.
Yeah, I was.
I'm literally pacing in my parents' house,
like
in the
biting
hallway.
my fingernails.
Yeah. I thought it was over. 3rd and 20. Remember Pat Hayden saying you don't got to get all at once here.
Yeah.
I wanted more though. I didn't want it to be 4th and 9.
Well, 4th and anything
And then-
felt like
Here's
enormous.
Arbogast's greatest call ever. I think. Let's enjoy this.
One last gas to see if they get a first down to keep this thing going. It seems impossible.
It seems impossible. So good.
Need 9 yards to keep that dream alive, at least for another minute and a half. Jarrett to the left.
it
Smith
starts
and
right
McCoy
here.
to the right. Bush is the tailback. Ryan Khalil the center. Waiting for the call from Matt Leinart. Lines are set. Leinart changes at the line.
Ballsy.
Gets the snap. Drops
Where's he
the
going?
pass. Throws. Looking for Jarrett. It's caught by Jarrett at the 40, 35, 30, 25, 20. Tackled from behind at the 15, maybe the 13-yard line.
I am running through the house. Running through the house.
I was behind the couch, so like the couch was in the middle of the family room, and I was like behind the couch, just like jumping up and down, like with my hands up on the couch, like freaking out.
Will he sneak or
Yeah.
take the snap and dump it? Clock runs.
This is an incredible play here.
Rolls left. Has
And
to
we
get
all
rid of
think
it.
they're-
He runs. He dives.
I-
He's in the
did
end
you
zone.
think the game was over
I
here?
thought the game was over.
I
I didn't.
thought- there was no way it was over.
I mean, but I thought it was over in the sense of, like, a lot of times when stuff like this happens, like they can't, like, this was before replay review was like a thing. This was before they could go and make these things right. Like if the refs had ruled that he was in bounds or something like that, like if they had ruled a million different things, it would have ended the game.
See,
By now, though, we knew that it wasn't the end of the game, and then these fans just looked
This
stupid.
game
Though.
is not over, and now Pete Carroll has one whale of a decision to make with the ball at the 1-yard line, whether or not to kick a field goal to
I
send
thought
the
for sure
game
you
to
spike it and send it
overtime,
I thought for
OT.
sure it
or
was spiked.
try for the
Yeah.
touchdown and the win. All right, 7 seconds on the clock, and Liner will probably have to snap this thing and down it
The
right away
fake
with 7
spikes
seconds
here
to go. They're on the
by
1-yard
Sark
line.
Yes.
and Carroll and his son Brendan
If he tries to
should have been
score
the giveaway that it wasn't going to be a
Trojans will
spike,
lose the
right?
game.
Yes, but
It's
also
so obvious.
so good.
Forward and out of bounds.
Charlie Weiss is at the hash marks walking off the field.
Like you wouldn't be doing that if it was actually a spike, right?
Yeah.
Liner
This shot of the band is so good.
spike it or sneak it in for a touchdown.
I say he spikes it that way. gives him
That
another
girl hyperventilating.
chance to make the right call.
Lines are set. Leinart sneaks towards the goal line. He's in the end zone. Touchdown, USC! With 3 seconds to go, the Trojans have scored. With 3 seconds left, he did not spike it. He went into the end zone. Matt Leinart has scored, and
Incredible.
the Trojans will win the ball game.
Right here. Hold on. Right here. Right here.
Amazing drive. 2 drives in a row. Absolutely incredible. The Irish are crushed. Charlie Weiss cannot believe it. Matt Leinart
That-
decided to sneak
that-
it, not spike it.
That remark there from Paul McDonald is so good. 2 drives in a row.
It was absolutely remarkable.
One of the greatest drives in the history of Trojan football.
This at this stage was I had already sprained my ankle, jumping around the middle of the room with my brother, like holding on to each other, just like jumping in circles. And like at one point, I just went down weird on my ankle. I was limping for the rest of the day. It was I was like, it was one of those like moments where you're like, your skin is on fire and like you can't, like you're shaking. You just have like adrenaline just flowing through your vein, and like it's like an hour or two later, and I don't remember why we went to my other one of my best friends growing up, but we went to their house that evening for, it must have been somebody's a party for something, And I remember still like having that like vibration and like that adrenaline vibration going on. And it was like, it's been hours. Like this should have stopped already. This was probably the first time I ever experienced like that level of just sports ecstasy.
I've always said there's 3 moments in my life where like a sports moment has been so shocking, like not like totally shocking, but like so invigorating. And it's 4th and 9. It's when Alec Martinez scores in Game 7 against the Hawks in 2014, and it's Aramis Ramirez walk-off homer against the Brewers in 2007. All of those things were literally like run through the house screaming, don't know where to go, so I'm just running randomly. Like those kind of moments, like it sticks with you. Like it does, like you do feel like a vibration in you or whatever. Like there's, I don't know, like it we can get super woo-woo with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's magical. And like, yeah, for me, the closest that I've come to that was when Liverpool came back against Barcelona.
Origi?
When corner taken quickly. Yeah. Origi. And just that, it was literally the same thing. I'm surprised I didn't sprain an ankle then, because I was literally, I launched into the arms of some random guy at the pub and we just like jumped around with each other. It was just like, it was just one of those moments that was incredible. You don't get too many of those. I mean, we get a lot of moments in sports. We get so many fun moments, but you don't actually get that many of those kinds of, this is unbelievable, this is fantastic, this is magical kind of moments. Kenny in the chat talks about the walk-off field goal. That was a weird experience for the two of us because we were on the sideline, we were media. And so that whole game I had been trying to just like suppress any outward emotion. And it was when Deontay caught the pass over the middle, we were at that side of the field. We were in that
neither of us like react because we're media. You're not supposed to react or any of those things. But you put your hand on my shoulder, and I think you squeezed my shoulder.
I just grabbed your shoulder and was just like that. Like I was like, I had to just be like if we weren't media there, that probably would have been those moments where we would have just grabbed each other and like jumped around or whatever. And the only thing I could do was just like grab your shoulder and just like that. And the walk-off field goal though in that game was not one of those moments, because then you go into media mode and the game ends, you just get out onto the field and get as much like video and photos as you can.
That was wild because like we were literally on the field, right?
We were on the field, and I remember we were calling Trinice because we needed somebody to update the like game article, because we had put
that SC lost.
We were ready to have USC
and we couldn't get a signal down there.
Yeah. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
A mess.
Oscar in the chat says I was 5 and didn't know why everyone yelled around me in the living room and started jumping up and down. Yeah, totally, relatable. Absolutely. Geller Music is actually the loudest moment of my life was in the Cal Roby pick 6 and Andrew Luck.
That was close, yeah.
I will take it to my grave. That's the loudest moment at the Coliseum ever. Loudest game is the Cal game in 2004, but the loudest moment is the Nickel Roby pick 6.
I was at my grandmother's house watching that game in the den, and I was alone. I was just there with my grandmother, who was in the kitchen watching probably some soap opera on the TV. And I was jumping up and down on the couch, like on that raggedy old couch.
It's a great call from Musburger too.
Yeah.
The youngster from Florida, Nickel Roby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great moment. Alicia, you talked about your ankle. Let's use that as a segue to talk about SC's injury issues going up to South Bend. What's going on with those?
Yeah, so nice segue with the ankle. So we'll start with the ankle. Wayman Jordan suffered an ankle injury and is going to miss 4 to 6 weeks after undergoing tightrope surgery, which apparently is a thing, I learned. tightrope surgery is a procedure that's used to stabilize the ankle after an injury. So it's basically like, it's almost like the old thought of putting pins in between two bones to sort of strengthen the tendons there or whatever, except they do it with like flexible material now, so it's a much faster recovery time. It's just often used if you have like a high ankle sprain or something like that. So that surgery will keep him out 4 to 6 weeks. The optimistic side of that is obviously he can come back in a month. If you remember, Tua Tagovailoa with Alabama played in the national title game. That was 28 days after having tightrope surgery. So there is a possibility that USC gets Wayman Jordan back before the end of the season. I guess then the question becomes, how quickly do they push him, and how relevant is USC's season by that point? Because I think if USC's in the Big Ten title game, I think you can start targeting Wayman Jordan to be back in time for that. If USC's not in the Big Ten title game, do you just call it a season, and let him heal up and maybe get him back for the bowl game? It's sort of that bigger of a question. Unfortunately, Eli Sanders will not be back. He suffered a season-ending knee injury, we presume an ACL. He is out for the rest of the season, and I believe that ends his college career, which majorly sucks. He doesn't have any eligibility left, and it's too late for him to take a medical redshirt. I don't know what... I want to say in his past he doesn't have a season where he could apply the medical redshirt either, so that's pretty sucky. But on the plus side, USC was down to just King Miller and literally no scholarship running backs available coming into the second half against Michigan. Obviously, Brian Jackson suited up ahead of schedule, and USC has actually been fined $5,000 for having a player who was on the injury report listed as out play in that game, which worth it, I guess. He apparently made it through the game without any problems, so he should be available. And then also the freshman running backs, Harry Dalton and Riley Wormley, Lincoln Riley has said, are expected to be available this week, coming back from injury as well. So there is some depth behind King Miller this time. That depth, I feel, is still a little bit tenuous in that Brian Jackson is still returning from a relatively long-term injury. Harry Dalton and Riley Wormley, the same. They haven't had a bunch of practice time coming into this game, so I expect King Miller to be the bell cow back in this one, but you obviously still have to see what happens with that. And then I have still not seen any word on Elijah Page in terms of his availability, so that is something to watch. I don't know of any other notable injuries that USC has coming in, but USC doesn't really talk about injuries, so we wouldn't know. Anyways.
Notre Dame puts out a depth chart, which is refreshing in this day and age to put out a depth chart. So they're a little more forthcoming on injury stuff. We know that starting center Ashton Craig out for the season. Both the Trojans and the Irish will have their starting centers from the beginning of the season out for the season. Backup wide receiver Micah Gilbert is out with a hand injury for the Irish, along with offensive lineman Charles Jaguash with an arm injury, and Peter Jones out with an ankle injury. Questionable is Devontae Smith at corner. He's got a calf thing. Starting wide receiver Jaden Greathouse. Questionable with a thigh injury. He missed the NC State game. Entered the season as probably the guy that everyone expected to be their number one wide receiver. He's not been that productive, but he's also had this thigh injury too. Tight end Cooper Flanagan has an Achilles. He's questionable. And Will Black has a concussion as well. All right, Alicia, let's just get into it. SC Notre Dame, 4:30 p.m. on WNBC. Primetime game. USC Notre Dame, the big rivalry. The Irish 4-2 under Marcus Freeman this season. It's his fourth year. He's 37-12 so far in South Bend. When last we spoke, USC lost to Notre Dame 49-35 at the Coliseum a year ago. A game in which SC was down 35-28 late in the fourth quarter, driving to try to tie it, and then back-to-back pick sixes in the red zone from Jade Mayava ended up being all she wrote. She did score a consolation score there at the end. But a game that SC fought hard, but did not get the win in. The only game all last year in which SC did not have a lead in the fourth quarter, but Notre Dame, of course, the national runner-up, they go losing to Ohio State in the national championship game. The Irish, number 13 in the AP, number 15 in the coaches poll. But, Alicia, the metrics love the Fighting Irish. FEI has them at 4th. Jeff Sagarin has them number 2. Number 2 in the country. This is a team that has really good losses. Their resume, in terms of like quality losses, you cannot get any better. They lost to number 2 Miami and number 4 Texas A&M.
Yeah, and I argued at the time for Notre Dame to stay ranked, and this is exactly why, because I figured that Notre Dame would do what they've done for the rest of the season, which is those losses would get better and better each week, and that they would keep winning each week the rest of the way. So I think that Notre Dame, their mission at this point is to get to 10-2 with those 2 losses still looking very good, and they probably will continue to look very good. And then be in a position where they can show that they have some quality wins, like beating USC or, well, I don't know. They don't really have any other quality. They beat Arkansas. You know, everyone's beating Arkansas, but they beat Arkansas the best on the road. So they are in desperate need of some quality wins, and at this point, USC is their best chance for the rest of the season. So they have a lot to lose in this game.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that this is a playoff eliminator for the Irish. And, like, on one hand, I don't think a 9-3 Notre Dame team is out of the playoff.
I think it is.
But I think they are, considering that their schedule doesn't allow them to have any sort of win. Yeah. Yes, they would have 3 quality losses if SC beats them, but no quality win. And at some point, you need a quality win there. But let's talk about the Notre Dame offense. This is an offense that is pretty damn good. 6th in FEI offense, led by redshirt freshman quarterback CJ Carr. He's completing 66.5% of his passes, 1,600 yards, 13 touchdowns, only 3 picks, passer rating of $176. He's an improvement from last year when they had Riley Leonard in terms of passing. He's not the runner. He's not the slippery guy on his feet like Riley Leonard was in the same way, but he's a more efficient passer. His passer rating is at 176, and Riley Leonard's last year was at 139.6. He's averaging 3 more yards per attempt than Leonard did last year, so a little bit more balanced in terms of offense and how they're able to be a little bit more vertical and throw the ball a little bit more. And this is a wide receiving core that is pretty damn good. Number 3 in PFF, behind, of course, SC and Ohio State 1 and 2, according to PFF. Wide receiving core led by Jordan Faison. Malachi Fields transferred from Virginia. Will Pauling transferred from Wisconsin. We saw him last year at the Coliseum. And then Jaden Greathouse, who we talked about earlier, kind of expected to be the number 1 guy, and he's kind of been like 4th or 5th in the pecking order so far this year. Eli Raridan is the tight end. He's got 20 catches, 342 yards. Expect him to play a factor because, of course, Notre Dame has a very good, capable tight end. In the run game, this is Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price, a very strong backfield. Love averaging 5.3 yards per carry, Price at 6.7. Love also a very capable guy out of the backfield to catch passes, 14 catches, 3 receiving touchdowns for the Irish this year. We know what he can do. We saw him last year. He absolutely sliced and diced the Trojans at the Coliseum. Going into the season, I thought he was like my Heisman pick. So like we know how good and capable he is. When I don't want to overlook the run game, but more so like I think the biggest talking point here is how the receivers from Notre Dame match up against the corners, because that is USC's biggest weakness. It is a horrific matchup between Notre Dame's receivers and SC's corners. We talked about them being number 3 in PFF, the receivers. They were number 10 in PFF coming into the season. SC was unranked, which is a little weird. But, they added the big transfers. But SC's corners have just been downright terrible this season. DeCarlos Nicholson grades out as the best among the corners at 67.4 from PFF, but he would rank 5th among USC corners a year ago. That's how much of a step back the corners have really taken. Marcellus Williams has been targeted 22 times this season and is yet to personally contribute to an incompletion. Passes have been incompleted, thrown his way, but he has not touched a ball, not forced an incompletion, anything through 22 passes. That is worrisome there. We know that Prophet Brown and Alex Graham have been injured and haven't played. Jason Johnson has seen an injury. And DJ Harvey and Braylon Conley have essentially been benched. So this is a corner group that looks absolutely terrifying to put them up against a receiving core as good as Notre Dame's. What do you make of that matchup?
Yeah, it's a problem. It is definitely the biggest concern in this game, especially because, the passing attacks that USC has played so far have been not close to the best ones that they're going to face this season. If the best passing attack that you play in this season is Illinois, you've only skimmed the surface of what kind of aerial attacks that you're gonna go against. And I actually just had this thought that I pulled up the PFF grades for all the quarterbacks in the Big Ten, plus USC's out-of-conference schedule, plus Notre Dame. And obviously, like, Julian Sayin and Jaden Mayava are up at 90.5 and 90.1, respectively. Washington's Damon Williams is at 89.3. The next best is CJ Carr at 83.3. So the best quarterback in terms of PFF grades that USC has played thus far is Luke Altmaier, and he's a 77.5. So we're talking magnitudes that CJ Carr is playing at better than the quarterbacks USC has faced. And frankly, Luke Altmaier was a problem for USC. Luke Altmaier was a big problem for USC as far as I forgot Ryan Brown. Sorry, Purdue. He was ahead of Luke Altmaier at 82.6. But either way, good passing attacks have had a lot of joy against USC, and I think that we saw against Michigan that the game plan and the matchup did suit USC because facing a one-dimensional team, USC could put a lot of attention into, we're going to just try to stop the run, force Bryce Underwood to throw, and that worked out for them more often than not. Problem is, you can't really do that against Notre Dame, because if you just say, okay, we're just going to play against the run and force CJ Carr to throw, CJ Carr is going to do a lot more to you than Bryce Underwood was capable of. And CJ Carr's receivers are going to be much more dynamic than the ones that Michigan had out on the field last Saturday. So basically, we saw you have to get much better very quickly against the run ahead of the Michigan game, and they did admirably, all things considered. We need to see USC get much better against the pass in this game. And I don't know how confident I am in that. I will say Alex Graham, and I've been trying to verify this, he was listed with a couple snaps in the PFF grades for USC against Michigan. So I didn't see him play personally, but he might be on his way to being back. So, oh yeah, no, Kendall Holloway confirms true freshman Alex Graham came into the game and he was at safety in a dime package.
Yeah, that's helpful. We'll see how that contributes, but like we've talked about this before, like you can't just bank on a true freshman being the guy to fix everything.
No.
Especially not only would this be his second taste of action, but on the road against a top 15 team at a place where SC has been notoriously unsuccessful in the last 15 years. Like that's scary place for a true freshman to go into. I think the thing that you touched on about like Michigan being more Michigan's not one-dimensional, but they're way more on a 1 to 2-dimensional slider, right? Like on a spectrum, they're way closer to the one-dimensional side than Notre Dame, who is like very in the middle of like being nice and balanced. And so was Illinois. And that's where SC really struggled, was stopping a team that was balanced, because we saw against Purdue, SC got the stops because Purdue wanted to throw the ball a million times. And that sort of played into SC's favor, where like at some point, Ryan Brown's going to make a mistake, right? You're just going to sit back and sort of wait for that moment to happen. Against Illinois, that did not work, because the only time Illinois made mistakes was them fumbling at the goal line. And that's an unsustainable thing to sort of bank on, right? So I think this is a terrifying matchup for USC's defense. We saw SC play well defensively a week ago. Michigan's running backs were productive, but they weren't lethal. And if you can leave Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price to be productive but not lethal, I think that helps. Mm-hmm. But the problem is Notre Dame has the receivers that Michigan did not have. So I think that's going to be a big factor there. Of course, Notre Dame did lose starting center Ashton Craig, like we talked about. They got to go to some backups on the offensive line. If SC's defense is going to make an impact, it will be there. In the chat, D-Ron mentioned that like this could be Jakeem Stewart's sort of coming out party. If it is, that's a huge factor for the Trojans, because I think that's where you make some headway. Miami had 3 sacks against them in week 1. 3 sacks isn't a million, but like that's a starting point. It's a starting point for disrupting CJ Carr and sort of keeping him, off schedule if you can.
Well, and this is the thing about losing a starting center is it's usually pretty tough on a team to replace a starting center. Where USC kind of got a little bit lucky is that was one of the tightest battles that USC had in fall camp, mm-hmm. and that when Killian O'Connor went out, it's not like USC was starting, a backup who wasn't in contention for that job. Yeah. It was
Big General Reed has a lot of experience.
General Reed was somebody USC brought in to be a starter, Yeah. So the that is certainly something that could very much disrupt every element of Notre Dame's starting offense. And, mm-hmm. I believe it's Joe Otting who's going to be taking over. I don't know much about him. I don't know how confident Notre Dame fans are in him, but he apparently, had to get thrown into the fire after that injury and held his own. So USC will need their tackles to make life as miserable as possible for that guy. The other thing I wanted to mention, though, and this is where, maybe replacement center, maybe just the little things that happen in the matchup that gives USC some element of hope of the defense coming through. In this, we talked about how one of the things that makes us uncomfortable about USC's defense is that the best part of USC's defense thus far has been the red zone defense.
Yes.
And you and I think, both agree that you said that's not sustainable because too many of USC's red zone stops felt like they were lucky, And you can only rely on luck so long. Now, obviously, I'm not going to take anything away from Bishop Fitzgerald because he made the plays that got those red zone interceptions, and I'm not going to take anything from Eric Gentry because
I think the Bishop Fitzgerald picks are way less lucky than the fumbles. But
Eric Gentry punches the ball out, and that's just what he does. Right. You have to assume it's unsustainable. Now, the plus side is Notre Dame's red zone offense has been very frustrating for Notre Dame fans. I was talking to Greg Fleming of Inside Notre Dame, Irish Sports Daily, sorry. And he was saying that they had 8 red zone trips last week. They had a fail on 4th and inches. They had a 4th and 3 with a bad play call. They got blown up, and then Jadarian Price fumbled at the 1 yard line, and they didn't really finish off their drives in that way, and that's been sort of frustrating that they've had some hiccups in terms of, tendency for a false start or tendency for
3 of those last week.
Yeah. Tendency for just like little things like a missed extra point going wonky or Jaden Love just sort of like losing his mind and running into one of his own players or Jeremiah Love. Or CJ Carr having freshman moments of, missing a pass like we saw from Bryce Underwood. So Notre Dame is still, I don't think they're a super well-polished offense yet. I think that they certainly have developed and started to find their own with CJ Carr. But like most offenses in college football, they do have their moments where mistakes really, really hurt them. Mm-hmm. And I think USC's goal in this game is obviously going to be, and this is probably from every game, but we always say like whoever wins the turnover battle is most likely to win the game. Well, for me, it's not the turnover battle. It's whoever has whichever side of the equation the more mistakes are on. Those just little mistakes, those little errors that cost you a play or a drive or a touchdown. Like those are the things that will add up on one side or the other, and whichever side is more heavily weighed down will be the one that loses.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes this matchup so interesting is you talk about Notre Dame's offense. Really, really good. They're a really good offense. They are not as near perfect as SC's offense has been, but the flip side is Notre Dame's defense is way more consistently reliable than SC's defense, and so like it balances out. Like this really is a super even matchup. Let's talk about the defense from Notre Dame and going up against SC's offense. The defense is led by corner Leonard Moore, a Thorpe candidate, 3 picks so far this year, 2 PBUs, 12 tackles. Up front, they have a Viper position, which is like their edge guy. That's Boubacar Traore, 6.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, 3 hurries. Junior Tuialamaka behind him, 5 hurries, 4 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss. So like that's where they generate their pressure is from that Viper role. But this is a Notre Dame team that doesn't produce a lot of negative plays. 132nd in tackles for loss. But like I find this Notre Dame defense so fascinating in terms of the numbers because they are 6th in FEI defense. 6th. That is an elite defense, right? 6th in the country. And FEI is opponent adjusted. So that takes into account that they faced the number 8th offense, the number 14th offense, and the number 18th offense. That's Miami, A&M, and Arkansas. But you look at the raw, unadjusted numbers that Notre Dame have put up so far this season defensively. They're almost identical to what SC is doing. Again, the competition is not exactly the same, but the numbers themselves are almost identical. Success rate, Notre Dame is 70th in the country, SC 78th. Again, these are defenses. Notre Dame's defense 70th, SC's defense 78th. Scoring defense, Notre Dame 46th, USC 50th. Total defense, Notre Dame 59th, SC 61st. Pass defense, SC 103rd in the country, Notre Dame 106th. Third down defense, Notre Dame 58th, SC 66th. Line yards, Notre Dame 111th, SC 118th. They even create turnovers at the same rate. SC has forced 12 turnovers, Notre Dame 11. Like, these defenses are very similar in a lot of numbers. The difference being SC relies on their turnovers being at the end of drives in the red zone and has one of the best red zone defenses in the country because of that. And Notre Dame gets their turnovers earlier in drives. And while they don't rely on the negative plays that SC does, it sort of reduces the mean, the median, the whatever word the mode, I don't know, whichever one you want to throw in there, of what their average play is that they're giving up. You know what I mean? Because SC is going to force a lot of negative plays, but they're going to give up a lot of plays and sort of balances out that way. And so this is a Notre Dame defense that's going to have their hands full because this is the USC offense that is number 1 in the country in FEI offense, F+, yards per play, total offensive success rate, rushing success rate, offensive possession efficiency, offensive points per drive, available yards percentage, drive success rate, percentage of drives that average 10 plus yards, 7 plus yards, and 4 plus yards, each of those, 50 plus yard passes, 60 plus yards, and dead last in punts, which means they're number one in the fewest punts. This is an elite USC offense. This is the best offense statistically that SC maybe has ever had. Like going back to the 2005 team, this is an elite offense. And so how does this matchup work? Can SC continue to be productive? We saw them last week against Michigan, a defense that we all think is a very good, stout defense. And SC absolutely shredded them. The only time SC didn't score last week, for the most part, was when they fumbled in the red zone or when Jaden Mayava threw an interception that was unfathomably terrible.
He lost his mind for a moment. You know what, though? You know what? I was playing NCAA 26 a couple nights ago. I literally did the same thing. I threw that same interception, and I was like, what in the hell was I was rolling out to the right. I saw a receiver. I hit the button, and then the DB was just there, and I was like, so yes, it does just happen.
Go out of bounds to kick the field goal. Yeah. So I think the common thought here is that SC is going to score points, but Notre Dame is also going to score points. How is Notre Dame going to slow down SC is going to be the biggest question. We talked about Leonard Moore being their best player on defense. He's a Thorpe candidate. He's going up against the Makai Lemon from the Trojans, the Bolitnikov candidate, except Makai Lemon lines up in the slot. Leonard Moore is a boundary corner. Like, how do you wrap your head around that if you're Marcus Freeman? Do you move more inside and play him as sort of a nickel and let Christian Gray sort of be just the outside guy who has to take care of Jacoby Lane? Or do you just stick to what you're doing and you hope you slow SC down in other ways? Because Marcus Freeman was asked specifically, how do you stop Makai Lemon? And he was like, a lot of coach speak, but the crux of what he was saying is you can't let a guy like him beat you. You got to do whatever you can to not let him beat you. At the same time, you cannot get away from your strengths to the point that you open up other deficiencies.
Well, that's exactly my question with that is if they get creative trying to put a lid on Makai Lemon, we have to remember that Jacoby Lane, while not a dominant force for USC this year so far for a variety of reasons, the least of which is the injury, but he looked pretty healthy this past week. He will be a week healthier. And he is a weapon that I think opposing defenses don't want to tempt to have a big game. Because, yes, you need to limit Makai Lemon. But if you limit Makai Lemon at the expense of a 10-catch, 200-yard Jacoby Lane performance, then what even was the point? So I wouldn't be surprised at all if their vision here is, we have to make sure that we're better off having Leonard Moore put a lid on Jacoby Lane and do what we can to mitigate Makai Lemon than to change everything that we do defensively, put a guy in a position that he's not used to playing, in a spot of the field that he's not used to playing, and then also potentially weakening our defense of Jacoby Lane while also weakening our best DB. You sort of have to take what you can get against this USC team. So it is going to be a fascinating chess match, really.
Yes.
And I think that the funny thing to me is, like, you guys want to talk about like how USC fans hated Alex Grinch and were just doomsday preaching all day about Alex Grinch not being able to do anything right. Notre Dame fans, maybe not to the extreme that USC fans
they hate
Grinch,
Chris Ash.
They really don't trust Chris Ash. Yeah. They really think that he's going to be out of his depth against Lincoln Riley. And as a USC fan, I sure hope so, because Lincoln Riley has been in his bag this season. He very much ran circles around Notre Dame, which is what Notre Dame fans were saying after that game.
Yeah, Wink Martindale.
And he needs to be doing the same thing to Chris Ash and Marcus Freeman. in order to put USC out front here. Because, and I've talked to you about this, like, my feeling on this game is that I want to see USC's defense continue to show up, continue to get better, to improve as the season goes on. But I have no illusions. This is a good offense. This is an offense with playmakers who can and will likely hurt USC, and an offense that's going to probably score closer to 30 points than not, in a best case scenario. And USC's offense, the difference last year between a USC victory, a shock USC victory over Notre Dame, and USC losing that game the way that they did, was literally 2 pick sixes. It was literally, the errors that USC's offense made that gave Notre Dame that leg up. And I guess my feeling is, if USC was that close offensively last year against Notre Dame, this offense is better than they were last year at this stage. I think if USC's offense comes out and plays more or less at the level that they did against Michigan, they need to, the minimum they should be shooting for in this game is 35. Like, USC's offense is capable to be looking at scoring 40. Under no circumstances should they be scoring less than 35 if they want any chance of winning this game. And I guess my concern there comes from, we have seen USC's offense be at peak level at home. And both road games, we saw USC's offense take, even if it was a marginal step back, enough of a step back that they opened the door for Illinois to win that game.
Yes.
So that's the question. Can USC replicate it on the road?
The Purdue game, every single drive was technically a successful drive, because they either scored points or they attempted a field goal. They did settle for a lot of field goals in the Purdue game, but and the Illinois drive, they were a buzzsaw when they needed to be. They moved the ball really well. The drives that they didn't score on was a turnover, a bad pass, a penalty. Like, those are the 3 things. And so, like, those are self-inflicted. So if SC can fix those things and play cleaner, I think it helps. And I think it also helps that this is Jaden Mayava's 11th start as a Trojan quarterback. It was number 3 for him last year against Notre Dame. Also, PFF had that Notre Dame game as his best game.
It was by far his best PFF graded game, and that's with 2 pick sixes. So, I mean, that alone should give USC fans at least a touch of confidence here, because Jaden Mayava was not, cowed in that game in the slightest going up against a really top team. He definitely came to play. And he's been playing at that level, at the level that we saw of him in that Notre Dame game, minus the pick sixes this season, which is why his ratings are so high.
Then you look at what Notre Dame has done so far this season defensively. Like, Marcel Reed threw for 360 yards in week 2 and beat the Irish in South Bend. Mind you, they've made a lot of personnel changes in the secondary since that game.
That's one thing I wanted to talk about too, because some of Notre Dame's defensive statistics are being slightly warped toward the negative because of their performance in those first 3 games. And since those first 3 games, they have really shut down Arkansas, Boise State, and NC State, teams that I would expect to be capable of scoring more than 7 on most teams. And that's what they were limited to against Notre Dame. Arkansas had 13 in that game. So Notre Dame did make some personnel changes. Notre Dame did figure out some things as far as who should be on the field and in what positions, and it seems to have made a difference for them. Now, is that enough to stop the tank that is USC's offense? This is why this is such an intriguing matchup.
Yeah.
Because both sides of the equation have offenses that could be buzzsaws, and both sides have defenses that have progressively gotten better in one way or another.
Yeah.
It's going to be
but we know are capable to give up close to 50 points, right? Like
either one of these could give up 50.
Yeah.
Either one of these could hold the other team under 20.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about USC's defense, but
sure.
theoretically.
A&M scored 40.
If Bishop Fitzgerald gets has another 2 interception game,
you never know.
USC's gonna, the defense will be feeling pretty okay.
Last thing before we get to over under, I guess there's the question of can SC repeat the run success that they had last week? I think that's an interesting question because they were very good on the ground against Michigan. We know that Wayman Jordan and Eli Sanders are out. This is going to be King Miller's first career start. He's number 2 in the country in yards per carry. We know he loves to crack a big run, but this is also a Notre Dame defense that, while they don't create negative plays, again, 132nd in tackles for loss, their front 7, as a whole, the front 7 is 134th in total havoc. They're still 25th in rush defense. One guy has had more than 5 yards per carry this season as a running back against them, and it was like Boise State's starter who had 5 carries against them, right? So very similar things to what we talked about with Michigan last week, where they just don't give up a lot to the running backs. And so what can King Miller do to have his reign continue?
Well, it's as much about USC's offensive line as it is King Miller. I'm actually quite confident in King Miller's ability to read what's in front of him, to hit the correct hole, and then to take off when he has that opportunity. Knock on every piece of wood, but we've also seen King Miller.
That was risky.
I know. I had that thought mid knock. Sorry, very quick aside. I've been listening to Taylor Swift's new album, and there's a song. The song "Wood" has the chorus is that she doesn't have to knock on wood, and there's a literal knock in that song. And I've been very careful to only ever listen to that song with headphones on. Aside from the fact that I don't want you to divorce me because you're that kind of person who hates Taylor Swift and doesn't like that I'm listening to her.
Because I like music.
Yeah. But I've had the conscious thought of when I've been listening when you've been out of the room and I'm listening on my computer speakers to not play that song because of the knock, and I'm like
of the 2 DOGs. Yeah.
Yes, because the 2 DOGs. Yes, but King Miller's his ball security has been impeccable thus far. In a way that Wayman Jordan, that was his big liability. King Miller has also been pretty. He's clearly not as comfortable a pass catcher as Eli Sanders is, but they've gotten him the ball, and he's looked like he's perfectly capable of doing that. The King Miller question, I think genuinely the only thing question I have about King Miller that could really impact USC's offense is how capable can he be in pass protection, and that is always the no blocky, no locky. No blocky, no rocky situation. And USC doesn't, beggars can't be choosers at this point, so they're going to have to rely on whatever King Miller can give them on that front. Yeah. But that's my bigger concern than can King Miller navigate his way through Notre Dame's defense. For me, it's just a question of, is USC's offensive line going to once again open up those holes, give him those opportunities, and if the offensive line is doing their job the way that they've done it all season, I have zero doubt in King Miller's ability.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a huge question for us to see how that goes. All right, it's the time of the year, that time of the show when we go to everyone's favorite segment, Over Under.
So you're going over.
I'm feeling bold. Give me that over.
I'm going under. I got to take an under here. I got 3 unders to take.
I'm going to do an under here.
All right, the link is in the show notes. It's in the description. It's in the doobly-doo. At least you want to paste the link in the chat. I think that would be helpful.
Yes.
Let's go to the first one. Over under 300.5 Jaden Mayava passing yards. That I think it's crazy to say that the over under is 300 passing yards on the road against the top 15 team against a defense that is number 6 in FEI. Sounds nuts. But Mayava's averaging 308.7 passing yards per game. He had 364 at Illinois a couple weeks ago, and 360 against Notre Dame last season at the Coliseum. Texas A&M's Marcel Reed had 360 at Notre Dame Stadium in week 2. Notre Dame's defense against the pass is 106th in the country. They do allow 245.3 yards per game, but this is the number one USC offense that's coming to town. Caleb Williams, though, had 199 last time out in South Bend in 2023. He also threw 3 picks. So take all of that for what it's worth. Over under 300.5 Jaden Mayava passing yards.
I'm going to take the over on this one.
Okay.
Notre Dame has done a good job against opposing quarterbacks. Only 2 of them have gotten over 300 yards. That was Ryan Brown of Purdue and Marcel Reed of Texas A&M with 360. But I also think that Jaden Mayava and this offense, if nothing else, will find yards. My concern with this offense is less about them finding yards and more about them capping off drives without turning the ball over and finishing with touchdowns instead of field goals. Mm-hmm. So I think that he will have better than 300 yards in this game, even if it's just slightly so.
I agree. I think it's going to be over. I don't think this is a spoiler alert for anything. I think there's going to be a lot of yards and a lot of points in this game. So a lot of these offensive things, I feel like you can lean over because I think there will be over in this game just on a lot of offensive things. It's going to be a lot of offense in this game. If this ended up being a defensive shootout, it would be a shock beyond all shocks. We'll save that clip for later.
Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the weird games that you expect to be shootouts turn into defensive slugfests. I don't think that'll be the case with this game, but you never know. Yeah, you never know. But I have a good feeling there'll be a lot of points and yards in this game. Next one, 4.99 King Miller yards per carry. Miller is second nationally with 10.7 yards per carry. That's more than double the 4.99. But Notre Dame has only allowed 1 running back to have more than 5 yards per carry this season. That, of course, Boise State's Dylan Riley averaged 6.6 on just 5 carries. So, small sample size. Notre Dame's defense doesn't allow the running backs to get over 5 yards. So, 4.99. Can King Miller get over the 5 yards? I'm actually taking the under on this, and not because I doubt King Miller in any sense, but I think he's probably going to be carrying the load. He's probably going to have a lot of carries in this game, and eventually, I think that you have to bake in a game where he doesn't break that big long run. Sure. Maybe he'll do it again, but I think he'll probably I expect his gains in this game to be a little bit more of the sort of modest variety, even though I think he'll have a good running game, but not even if he has an explosive run. Not the Michigan game, you're saying. Yeah, not the Michigan game. And even if he has an explosive run or two, I just think that he's going to be getting all of those 1 yard carries that Wayman Jordan usually ends up getting, Yeah. At the end of the game last week, King Miller had I think three or four runs in a row that were 1 yard or less. So there are a few of those in there. Absolutely. I'm going to take the over, even if it's only slight. I just think that his average is more than double what this line is. And so I think it'll be over, maybe just because he cracks one big long run. I think the question here is, how does Notre Dame's defense treat the running game? Did they watch the Michigan film and they're like, oh, we've got to shut down the run, and they're going to do their best to target the running game, maybe creep more guys in the box or something? I don't know. How are they going to put more emphasis on that? Or are they going to be we can't let Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane beat us, so we're going to drop 8? Because if they drop 8, there's your running lanes for King Miller. So I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. I'll take the over. Let's go to the next one. 1.5 Notre Dame sacks. SC is allowing 0.67 sacks per game, which is, of course, 2/3 of a sack per game. Notre Dame has had at least 3 in each of the last 4 games. This is a team that doesn't make a lot of negative plays, but when they do make a negative play, it's a sack. So will they get more than 2? 1.5 is the will they get 2 is the question. 1.5 is the line. I'm going over on this simply because it will eventually happen that Jaden Mayava gets taken down twice. Like it just will happen eventually. It wouldn't even have to be a bad game for USC's offensive line for that to just eventually happen. So I'm playing the odds here, maybe playing a little bit of like reverse psychology or something like that.
Sure.
I'm taking that over.
I'm taking the over too. I think this could be a 2-sack game or whatever. It's a tough game on the road at night, a lot of pressure, a lot of those things. I think they should be able to get to Mayava maybe more than anything else SC has given up this year. SC has not given up 2 sacks in a game, but does seem like they're kind of due for that. If it's an under, I think that's a really good sign for SC. Absolutely. Let's go to the next one. It is 3.5 false start penalties combined. Both teams, we know, have not their starting center. The starting center is out for the season for both teams. SC had 4 false starts themselves last time out at Notre Dame in 2023. Notre Dame just last week against NC State had 3 themselves at home with the new center in there. So, like, in some ways the line seems low because SC had 4 at Notre Dame last time out. Like, but in other ways, like putting banking on 4 false starts seems like a lot too. So 3.5 is the line.
I am taking that under because I am tired of taking the over on penalty over-unders and getting screwed. So I'm taking the under. That makes no sense. But I've just got to do it.
I'm taking the over. I might literally take the over on literally everything here. Taking the over. Let's get weird. All right, next one is 0.5 Eric Gentry forced fumbles. Alicia, we put this line together because I discovered perhaps the craziest stat I've ever found. In the last 2 calendar years, Eric Gentry has forced a fumble in every true road game he's played in. This game, last I checked, on the road.
It is.
Mind you, he's only played in 4 true road games in the last 2 calendar years.
I mean, that's...
but he's done it in each one. At Cal, he had that crazy play where he just went off and forced a fumble. At Michigan, he had one of those last year. The Cal game was in 2023. At Purdue, he had 2 forced fumbles at Purdue, and he had 1 at Illinois. So over under 0.5 Eric Gentry forced fumbles.
I'm taking the under again because I'm just not gonna take anything that is super positive for USC. Also, luck. Eventually, you are statistically you are simply just going to not force a fumble. Like by no fault of your own. Like eventually, you will simply not do it.
Yes.
Now, counter to this, accepting that I'm taking the under just because I'm in this state of mind. I will mention it is very likely it will rain on Saturday in South Bend.
Have I just not paid attention to that?
Well, Greg pointed it out to me. Greg Fleming pointed it out to me. He's the forecast he sent over was 74, partly cloudy in the morning, then becoming cloudy with periods of rain later in the day. Chance of rain 70% during the day, and then at night there's an 80% chance of rain with near a quarter of an inch of rainfall. So yeah, it could be wet, which could lead to more fumble opportunities, but I'm still taking the under because I refuse not to.
Okay. I'm taking the over. I told you, I'm taking over on everything. Just over. I'm very partisan this over under. I'm in the over party. Let's go to the last one. We're going real plain Jane here. The true over under, total points. It's at 61.5. Last I looked this up this morning. Total points, over under, 61.5. What do you got?
I'm going to take this over. I do have that sneaking suspicion that we're going to get a surprise, like, defensive battle where both offenses are just sort of losing their minds because sometimes that happens. But realistically, I don't see either of these teams failing to score 30 points.
Yeah.
So I like that over.
Yeah. I agree. So I'm taking the over as well. Bob in the chat says 42-27. That would be an over. That would be an over. Yeah. So,
and that's also a very strong possibility, even if it's Notre Dame 42, USC 27. Like, I think that the winning team in this game probably scores 40 points.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right. Vegas line has this at 9.5 when last I checked this morning, which seems crazy to me.
That is bigger than I expected.
That is big. Does Vegas know something big?
Well, that's what makes me think that as soon as I saw that line was when I reached out to Greg to ask literally, like, I need to know more about Notre Dame's defense, because if you look at the numbers, like, that line shouldn't be as big as it is unless something big changed with Notre Dame's defense. And the first 3 games where they gave up all those points, and the last 3 games where they've held everybody pretty low. Mm-hmm. Is that just opponent, or did something change? And he said, yeah, things changed. So that makes me think that the Vegas thinks Notre Dame's defense is more the last 3 games than the first 3 games.
Yeah. FEI says Notre Dame by 10, 35-25. So that is huge too. What's your score prediction?
Yeah, what I find interesting, and again, the FEI projection, the Notre Dame projection, the Vegas projection, all of these, it suggests that they think that Notre Dame is going to be able to hold USC's offense, which I'm not sure, except for what Kenny said in the chat. I don't trust USC against a ranked road team. Mm-hmm. I don't trust USC against a ranked road team either. I do think USC will score more than 25 points, but I don't think they will score the closer to 40 that they will need to overcome Notre Dame's offense themselves. Mm-hmm. So I've got Notre Dame 35, USC 33.
Okay. I like that. I think that goes along with the similar vibes that I have here. I agree that, like, yes, there's a million reasons to get worried about SC's performance on the road. I tend to think that most of that has to do with wins and losses rather than score. Go back to the 2022 Utah game. I think this is a very similar comparison to that game. That was a game SC lost 43-42. SC scored at will against them, but so did Utah against SC. You know what I mean? Like, we've talked about it before. SC plays well against good teams. Do they win those games? Until the Michigan game last week, no. But they play well in those games. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So
they play up to their competition more often than not.
Yeah. The one time that they really, got their ass kicked was the Notre Dame game 2 years ago, in which Caleb Williams threw 3 interceptions. Mm-hmm. And if Jaden Mayava throws 3 interceptions on Saturday, then yes, they're going to get their ass kicked, and it'll be a jiggle bagging, absolutely. You need to avoid that. I see this as one of those classic Red River shootouts from the Lincoln Riley era at Oklahoma. 40-something to 40-something. Maybe someone gets 50. Maybe it goes to overtime. I think it comes down to who makes the last mistake. Not who makes the play at the end. Who makes the last mistake. Mm-hmm. That's who loses this game. And so I see this 48-45 in overtime, and I'm really torn on who wins this. Part of me leans Notre Dame because SC tends to lose by a field goal on the road. And then part of me leans towards SC in the sense that, like, Jaden Mayava at Illinois in the fourth quarter was freaking nails. And CJ Carr, good in the fourth quarter against Miami, production-wise, struggled in the fourth quarter against Texas A&M. He was only 4 of 9 for 47 yards. Jaden Mayava was nails against Illinois on the road, but he also threw 2 pick sixes against Notre Dame in the fourth quarter last year. So, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm dumb. I'm going to take SC 48-45. Either way, it's 48-45 in a coin flip.
I'm just banking on being wrong, to be quite honest. I picked USC to beat Illinois, and I was wrong. I picked Michigan to beat USC, and I was wrong. So I'm picking Notre Dame to beat USC in hopes of continuing to just be proven wrong. Love it.
There you go. All right, let's get to the mailbag, shall we?
You've got mail.
All right, let's open up an email we got from Oscar. Oscar from Southgate says, longtime listener, first-time contributor. I have 2 questions. Number 1, Notre Dame is known for their physicality on both sides of the ball. What adjustments does SC need to make this week to match that intensity? And number 2, what do you think SC needs to prove most in this game? That they can play physical football or that their offense can still dominate elite defenses? Thank you and beat the Leprechauns. Oscar, what say you?
Let's see how to answer both of these questions. What adjustments USC needs to make is no adjustments, in the sense of they need to just come at them the same way that they did Michigan. Like, it needs to be exactly what they did against Michigan, more or less. And they just need to find the adjustment they need to make is whatever they need to do on the road, whether it's, bring in their own chefs to make the food, or get in early or get in late, or do whatever it is that they do. Like, in order to match Notre Dame's physicality, it comes down to, we've already seen USC be physical.
Yeah.
So it's not an adjustment. It's a keep on doing exactly what you did.
Mm-hmm.
The area that USC needs to, what USC needs to prove the most in this game for me, it's less about that they can play physical football, or even just that the offense can dominate an elite defense, because I think that's already been proven that they can. What they need to prove to me is that when they go on the road, that they can play clean football and get a win, because we didn't see them play clean football against Illinois, and they didn't get that win. We haven't seen them play clean football on the road in a while. Like, even Purdue, they got that win, but it was still kind of like an ugly road win. And I get
there were ugly aspects to it.
Yeah, and I get that every team tends to struggle on the road, and very few go on the road and like play perfectly clean. But if USC wants to win this game, they have to find a way to play much closer to what they do at the Coliseum than they have managed to do at any road game since when? I don't even know. It's been a while.
It's a game that SC lost, but I think that the Michigan game last year is worth a shout. That was a game in which SC got blown off the ball in the first half, came out in the second half, gained 254, something like that, yards in the second half, took control of the game, lost at the end by giving up long run, but that was a game in which they set the tone in the second half of that game, despite not looking like they belonged on the same field in the first half. And so, if you can sort of channel the energy from that second half, where we belong, we can be physical, we can match the intensity, we can do all that stuff of that Michigan game, but make the play when you need to, make the tackle when you need to. Don't throw the pick six like Miller Moss did last year, or like Jaden Mayava did against literally Notre Dame last year. That will be huge. So yes, it's very simple. It's limit mistakes and don't let the moment be too big for you. And I think that SC's the good thing under Lincoln Riley. We can sit here and say that he doesn't win a lot of the big games at SC, which is 1,000% true. He doesn't no-show in those, with the exception of that Notre Dame game. And that Notre Dame game was just because of the picks.
Yeah. I am looking back at USC's road performance, going back well before Lincoln Riley. So this is not necessarily a Lincoln Riley question. What do you remember? No, that was at home. So that's not even.
By the way, I meant to say this earlier when you were talking about how Notre Dame is going to respond to what they're going to do in the secondary, whether they put Leonard Moore in the slot or whatever. One of the things I think about is the 2019 SC Notre Dame game, where that is a very good game, a valiant effort. SC loses a very close game. They deserve to maybe get more in that. Keaton Slovis, probably his best game he's ever played. One of the things that was so good for SC in that game is SC had a receiving core of Tyler Vaughns, Michael Pittman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Drake London.
Yep.
Notre Dame didn't know who the hell to cover. Every single play, it felt like somebody was wide open. It was Amon-Ra, or it was Vaughns, or it was Pittman. And I think for the most part, I think they targeted Pittman as the guy, as the danger man, and Amon-Ra had a huge game in that game, right? So like, if Notre Dame puts a lot of effort into sort of taking away Mekhi Lemon, and this is the Jacoby Lane game, great. They can pay that way. You know what I mean?
I'd love that.
Yeah. But what were you going to say before I rudely cut you off?
Well, I was going to say that the last time, I think we've already established that the last time USC won on the road against a ranked team was in 2016.
Washington, yeah.
USC.
You know who caught a touchdown in that game?
Daniel Matabebe.
Hey, baby. Hey, baby.
Obviously USC hasn't won a road game against a ranked team since then. But even, and if we're talking like true road games, so USC has won at UCLA and USC has won neutral site. But like,
I think the UCLA game, by the way, in 2022 is a good comp for this. Like, there's a lot of defensive numbers. Mind you, UCLA's defense in 2022, like the FEI numbers, the metrics were really out on them too. But like a lot of their numbers were just like SC's defense. And that ended up being a Spider-Man pointing game. And SC won it 48-45 in part because they didn't make the last mistake UCLA did.
UCLA did, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just looking through here. Even not ranked teams, USC's road wins have all been like, we're talking like Cal 2023.
51-50? No, 50-49?
50-49.
Yeah.
The Colorado game where they let Shedeur Sanders come back.
Is that 48-41?
48-41. And then ASU the week before, 42-28. I don't remember anything about that game, but ASU that year was bad.
Yeah.
So like
ASU was really bad. It was a game where like it was never truly in peril, but like SC did not.
Was that the Christian Rector game?
No, that was 2019.
Okay. This
was the game in which Cam Scatterbo was like, he did everything. Like they scored, ASU either scored or had big plays on like 4 or 5 different trick plays. And they were really ugly beyond that. But like SC just couldn't get out of their own way on the offensive side of the ball. And they didn't really like SC was in control of the game, but like it was just like a 10-point lead for like the whole game, real ugly until the fourth quarter when they had like 7 sacks in the fourth quarter. When ASU really had to like throw the ball.
Yeah, well,
it was an ugly game.
Just suffice it to say that USC's probably USC's best road win in the last 5 years. So going back to 2021 is beating Washington State with Jackson Dart. And I say that just because like USC beat Colorado that year, but Colorado was real bad, and the year before USC beat Arizona, but Arizona was real bad, and all of those games were closer than they should have been. At the very least, Washington State, a team that was bowl eligible, I suppose, and it was one that USC absolutely throttled them, and USC has not performed well on the road, even against bad teams. It's literally once in the last 5 years. Yes.
I just think that they end up playing teams that are better. Like that Oregon game in 2023, Bo Nix throws some of the easiest touchdown passes you'll ever see in the first quarter. But for the rest of the game, SC just lingers around, sort of, kind of. They make a game of it in the fourth quarter. They weren't embarrassed in that Oregon game. Obviously, they didn't really have a chance of winning.
Right, but I'm talking wins.
No, I know. The wins haven't been there. I guess I'm just saying that the Michigan game, that's the effort you want. It's not the win, Because this is the issue, is that you haven't won those games. Because even the Illinois game, I think you can point out the Illinois game, like offensively, like that was a really good sign that SC fought and like didn't roll over, and like they did all those things and they fought back and they played really well in every aspect of the game that doesn't start with a D. Yeah, if you do that again in South Bend, maybe you win the game, but you have to actually prove it. And I think what helps at least makes me think that SC has more of a chance here is that neither Notre Dame or SC have won the hard fought close game at the end this year. Notre Dame's 2 losses are the games in which they had to get into a rock fight in the fourth quarter of some sort, and they didn't win those games. SC lost at Illinois, even though when they were scoring a bunch of points. And like you can look at it and say, well, yeah, SC should have beat Illinois, and Notre Dame fans can say that they're 2 plays away from being undefeated, all that you want, but like both of these teams can feel like they should have given more in the last moment of losses. And so both the teams have to like sort of respond at the end there.
And it is going to come down to which, like, I like your assessment of whoever makes the last mistake.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever makes the last mistake wins this thing. All right. Really quick. We did get a super chat earlier that I meant to get to, and I'm sorry that we did not get to it, but really quick before we do that, YouTube comment from Matthew that says, you have to read this, not me.
Schadenfreude or Schadenfreude or Schadenfreude, the delight in another's misfortune. Yeah. I heard Schadenfreude. Sorry to be that guy.
No, that's
Matthew. I heard it too. And I just shook my head and let it go.
Not my greatest moment.
That's literally how he says it most of the time when he says it. It's his hyperbole. That's fine. I get it. I struggle with, because I can never remember if it's Schadenfreude or Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude.
Sure, yeah. You know, one of the things that I always think of, like one of the words that I felt like I was saying wrong and then just would say it wrong as a bit is elementary. Oh yeah, in elementary school, like I
say it weird.
It's fun to say that. And then I've been listening to people say that word.
Elementary school. I don't say elementary.
Elementary is how a lot of people say it.
I know, but it's weird. But also, you pointed out the other day that our friends say
button,
and
it drives me nuts.
And every time, not just the word button, but other words that they say in that same way. Now I notice it, and I'm like, what?
Well, it's because it's like a very California thing to like
just shorten everything.
Just shorten things. We say mountain instead of mountain. Yeah. Yes. And like in Utah, they say mountain instead of like, it's an even, like there's no T at all, just mountain. Did you go up into the mountains?
Yeah.
And like, we still put a little bit of a T there, but yes, there are people that pronounce it mountains. And like, it's really a whole linguistics thing. It's very fascinating.
Yeah. There's a guy on TikTok that does linguistic things. And
Zay on TikTok.
It's incredible. I watch all of his videos that when they come to my feed. But my problem with
what does Crayola make,
is,
by the way?
What
does Crayola make?
Crayons.
Thank you. Yes. I hate crayons. Crayons drives me nuts.
You know what I do, though? I do this with a lot of things when I'm writing. I will, in my head, say crayons because that's the way to spell it. Sure. But when I'm saying, like, oh, hand me those crayons, like, that's what I say. Yeah. And when I say it, there is the hint of an intention to add the O in there.
Mm-hmm. It's just,
I can hear it when I'm doing it. It's just crushed.
Well, I also hate when people say Danton Lynn, and you do this, and it drives me nuts. It's Danton Lynn. The media guy, okay, what city is the NFL Hall of Fame, the Pro Football Hall of Fame in?
The Pro Football Hall of Fame is in Canton.
You perfectly said Canton. It's in Canton, Ohio.
I don't say Canton, Ohio in my normal life.
It's Canton, Ohio.
Canton.
Canton. Why do you say Canton?
Because it's a place. I don't know.
It's weird. It's Canton, Ohio. The SC media guide literally says rhymes with Canton. So it's Danton Lynn.
Do you know why I do that though? Because there is because when I'm writing it out, I'm thinking out D''ANTON.
No, the name doesn't make any sense. But like, and I get that part because it's not even his name, right? Like it's a nickname that was given to him by his mom and all that stuff. It's got a really cute story, but like, and at least you don't do the Jake Merrifield D'Anton. Oh, that really drives me nuts. That really grinds my gears.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Super Chat. D-Ron 5150. You two rock, the real USC content OGs. We appreciate you, D-Ron. We appreciate you. Sorry it took us
Jacoby in the chat says
this.
Pepsi, not Pepsi. We literally say Pepsi, but it's...
I say Pepsi is a bit.
It's a bit, yeah.
Yeah. Pizza.
Pizza.
Yeah.
Get some pizza.
Yeah. Kenny says there's a song that has the lyrics, as they say in Canton, you can't enjoy yourself. So I always say can't and like that.
Canton. Like Canton, joy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it. What are any other words you say as a bit?
No, because I don't do that. Every word you say is a bit.
Bits are fun.
Every single word you say is a bit. So like, it's no fun for me because it's everything that you do.
Theater is fun.
The closest
that's how
to
Cosmo
a bit
Kramer
I
said
get
it.
is just saying hyperbole is just, it's more, I like saying hyperbole instead of hyperbole.
Yeah.
Like that's.
Yeah.
That's
we do have an internal home.
We do have a home linguistics.
Into that.
Yes. So my bit is, I don't know.
We don't need to go into.
I'm
it.
teepee.
We don't need to. We're not doing this.
We're not Aubrey and Wood. We're not cute like them.
Merry wedding to them though.
Yeah, merry wedding.
All right.
Yeah.
Big game, 4:30 p.m.
Oh, what
NBC.
I was gonna say though, with Schadenfreude, my goal with that, number one, great word. I love the Germans and their ability to like describe feelings, which is
German
funny,
words are
which
so
is
great, too.
literally funny that the Germans describe feelings in the most interesting way. But my goal with any word like that is just to be as California about it as possible and just Schadenfreude, like just mumble it because then it doesn't matter. Schadenfreude.
There you go. That works. Kenny in the chat says, I say now of days instead of nowadays. That's funny. That's funny.
That's good.
That's a good bit.
Yeah.
That's a good bit. There's another one that I do.
You do elaveter.
Oh, I say elaveter. Elaveter's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pronounced thermometer. That's my all-time favorite Seinfeld line, and nobody ever gets it. Mm-hmm. Jerry and George are talking about a barometer. What is a barometer anyways? Well, it measures pressure.
This is the conversation we've had about the rotometer. Is it the rotometer or the rotometer?
Yeah, I think we're going rotometer. Rotometer sounds cool.
It sounds British though. Like we'd have to have a British accents.
Controversy. I always find it funny that the Canadian organization. Project. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I had a history teacher in middle school who she spent like years living in Australia and New Zealand, but I think it was New Zealand, but she was American. And she would say project, like, okay, we're going to do this project. And like, I would giggle inside every time she said it because I just thought it was weird. Not until I like grew up and then realized that like, no, that's just like how, that's the Commonwealth way of saying it. That's how the Brits and the Canadians and the Aussies say it.
My elementary school teacher.
Elementary?
My elementary school principal used to say pleasure.
Oh, I hate when people say pleasure.
And everybody, and it was great because she would always start like her speeches or whatever with "It's my pleasure to," and we would all like just cringe and just like it was just like killing me.
The one that really pisses me off is template. If you are someone who says template, reconsider your life, please. It's template.
Template.
Yeah. Why are we saying template?
Yeah.
It's very awkward if you're talking to someone who says template, but you have to say template back.
It is so funny when somebody says something a certain way and you say it back.
And you say it back the way you say it, and then I'm like,
does it sound like I'm correcting them?
Yeah, I'm not trying to be an asshole here. Like internally, I might be thinking this, but like I'm not trying to be an asshole. Fighting on MC says medical terms can really be mispronounced. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of like terms that I didn't realize were the same term. I'm trying to think of an example of this.
Acetaminophen and acetaminophen.
I say acetaminophen, and then you told me that's wrong.
No, but overseas it's pronounced a different way, I think.
Yeah. Plagiarize.
Yeah,
plagiarize is a weird word too. So, all right, we're gonna wrap up there. We'll be back Saturday, 4:30 p.m. It's data, not data, by the way. Joe says data in the chat. Data, whatever. It's data.
It depends on the context.
Yeah. Well, to me, that's the word caramel.
Yeah, it depends on the
caramelize onions. If I'm eating a little candy, that's a caramel.
It's a caramel, yeah. But
it's caramel coloring.
But it's like if you're doing data entry, it's data.
Yes.
But then there is a context where I feel like I would say like, well, the data says.
I think I still say data there.
Yeah.
I still say data. Yeah. Rhymes with theta. It sounds Greek. Yeah. All right. We're
off track.
We're way off track.
Hey, can we celebrate though?
Great performance from the DOGs. Yeah.
Yes.
Great performance.
Yes.
We won't be getting negative reviews and comments, thankfully.
Yes, because
we've made it.
Preemptively they were taken out on like an hour and 15-minute sniff walk this morning.
Love a sniff walk.
And not even this morning, because I say this morning as though I didn't literally wake up at noon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a few hours ago that they went out for an hour and 15 sniff walk. That was literally just me walking around the neighborhoods near our house going like, no, we're not going to go home yet because you guys don't look tired enough yet. So, yeah.
There you go. It worked. All right. We'll be back Saturday, 4:30 p.m. for your watch along, and then we'll do the CarCast right after that. So until then, we will see. Go click the link in the over-under. So make sure you put in your over-under stuff in the description and all that. So until then, we will see you.
See ya.
See ya.